Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to all of you, all in the name of the LSSA UNISA Distance Learning School for Practical Legal Training. I want to take this opportunity to welcome all of you who have registered for the 2021 first semester of the LSSA UNISA Distance Learning School for PLT. Again, let me extend a word of welcome to all of you who have successfully been registered to be our students for this first semester of this new year. And go on and congratulate you, because I must mention that you are part of the history making. About 200 applications that have been confirmed nationally. I'm saying nationally because our school, the LSSA UNISA school, is a national school in the sense that we have applicants for registration coming from all corners of the country. As a matter of fact, we have had students who are foreign based, in other words, coming from boundaries beyond South Africa or beyond the boundaries of this country. As a result, yes, I think it is befitting that I should say congratulations for those of you who have been successful in their applications for registration for our training. Yeah, I am the principal of the school. I am Advocate Kay Malema. My Nam and Africans, I'm called by the name Kay here in the school. That's why you see in correspondence, I'm using Kay Malema for my personal details. Ladies and gentlemen, we are meeting in this virtual meeting. It is a first virtual orientation session that we're having, all due to COVID-19. We know what it has done. Exactly this time or this month last year, by this time, I would have visited our measure centers across the country. I would have conducted this orientation program in UNISA campuses. Like in Cape Town, I would be in the Pero campus. I would also be in the Durban campus of UNISA. I would also conduct orientation in, for example, Mthatha campus in Mthatha, in the major cities. Johannesburg, we have the school, we use the Wits University halls for purposes of meeting in an orientation program like this one with the Johannesburg-based students. But as I'm saying, COVID-19 hit our shores, actually hit the whole universe last year. And this year, to make matters worse is that we're having this apparently and reportedly more virulent, more dangerous, more infectious South African variant of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is for those reasons that I must apologize. Number one, why only now in this month, first month of our training program, we are conducting this orientation, for that matter, on a virtual basis. It is because, as one of the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic, workforces have been decimated. I think that's all common knowledge to many of you. The most recent dramatic, if not drastic, consequence in the form of workforce decimation is the one of the SAB. About 500 people or so have been cut off their employments, have been retrenched. And as a result, people are facing very, very bleak futures in their lives in relation to their livelihoods. The same affliction has befallen the printing department or the department that is responsible for printing study material. The school, the LSSA UNISA school, together with other independent institutions, and this would be basically meaning that we have this school as the virtual learning school or distance learning school competing with other 9 provincial contact learning schools, as I say, plus those independent institutions like the big law firms, attorneys firms of the country. They would all have competed for their first place or position in line for this one printing company to print study material for their students. In our case, we are talking about 200 or so students as one school. Just think about the numbers regarding the 9 provincial schools and then the numbers for students who are doing training, in-house training in those independent attorneys firms across the country. All those people, all those institutions, including our institution, they all rely on this one printing company, which is based in Sunnyside, Pretoria, for their study material needs. Now, as I'm saying, we did our best in the circumstances. As early as September last year, we placed our orders for the printing of material, obviously basing our orders on estimations. We estimated that we would have a minimum of 300 students for the 2021 first semester. That's what we got. And then obviously, as I'm saying, those numbers ultimately depended on the availability of manpower for the purposes of discharging the printing job in respect of study material. The study material, ladies and gentlemen, is made up of about 20 modules. So the whole training program has modules numbering that number 20, and those are not the thinnest study manuals. So that should, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately be borne in mind when one considers the competition for the printing of study material on one hand, and on the other hand, the question of the decimation of the workforce that various companies, including this printing company, had to confront with. It is for that reason that, unfortunately, only as late as Friday last week, I think the 22nd, yes, only as late as that was the printing company, and late in the day for that matter, was the printing company able to say that now we are printing our last module because of decimated numbers in the workforce, in spite of the fact that our orders have been presented as early as September, October last year. It is only on the 22nd of January that our last module of the 20 modules was fresh from the print. And this is all due to the ravaging consequences of COVID-19. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said that I am the principal of the school, but in short, my short resume, without boring you, is that before I became the principal of the school, which was in May of 2019, I had been practicing as an advocate for 10 years before I came here. And then before I became an advocate, which was in 2009, I had been practicing as an attorney of the High Court, practicing in Pretoria. All my legal practice, both as an attorney and as an advocate, happened or was centered around Pretoria and Johannesburg. Yeah. But maybe I must say my appointment as a principal of this school was basically a culmination of my relationship with the practical legally training environment, which association, if I cast my mind back, goes way back to the year 1999. I have since that time been presenting lectures to lead learning and development school here in Pretoria on the module or the subject of High Court civil procedure from that time, 1999, until I assumed the position of the principal of the school. You have just been welcome as students for the first semester of this year at our school, the LSSA UNISA Distance Learning School for PLT. Just a short background, the LSSA UNISA basically speaks of a collaboration between the LSSA, which is the Law Society of South Africa, on the one hand, and on the other hand, the UNISA that you know, University of South Africa, UNISA, and I guess from my scant look at all your registrations, a majority of you students emanate from that university. You have graduated from that university with your LLB degrees. I have always said that I hold graduates from the University of South Africa in awe. I respect you guys that have managed to graduate from that institution. I mean, private studies are not for everybody. I can tell you that I tried my hand at correspondence studies with UNISA for my LLB, and for 2 years I unsuccessfully attempted to study with that university. I failed for 2 successive years. So everybody who comes and appears before me and proves that they have successfully obtained their or completed their legal studies from an institution of correspondence learning is guaranteed my respect. I hold them in awe. So that is one reason why I should still again say, those of you who have emerged or graduated from correspondence studies have a potential of self-discipline, which I guess I don't share. I failed UNISA studies for 2 successive years. Then I decided, no, for my own good, I had to go back to a campus and study there full time. Yeah, I was basically saying UNISA and LSSA have collaborated to found or form this school for the purposes of, can I say, capitalizing on the niche market of very study-hungry students like yourselves. You couldn't be able, in your personal circumstances, attend the day schools or even the night schools for that matter. You basically, because of your personal circumstances, various personal circumstances, could not afford the luxury of contact or sit in class practical legal training. So UNISA and the LSSA came up with this idea from as way back as 2004 or 5, when they decided then to found this school to cater for those students who can afford to undergo practical legal training on a virtual basis or on a distant learning basis. That is basically the nature of our school. Our school is not possessed of or does not own any premises or venues. Our school it's e-based, based on e-learning, electronic learning, virtual learning, distant learning. That is our school. It differs. That is one of the profound distinguishing feature of the school in comparison with the sit-in or contact-based or classes or lectures conducting schools. Ours is, as I said, is modeled around the type of training that you went through at institutions like UNISA. Ladies and gentlemen, obviously you did not register to our school out of the goodness of your hearts. I'm not saying people are bad-hearted, but there is a benefit that you aim to get out of your trouble. You are welcome to, as we have already welcomed you, to undergo the training, and we expect that at the end of the program, which is a 6-month program, ladies and gentlemen, I expect to be awarded certificates of completion. They are called compliance certificates. And then upon receipt of those, or at the point of receiving those compliance certificates, we expect you, or we hope that you shall have enjoyed the course, you shall have been enriched, and most importantly, for your profession, you shall have gained the benefit of having to serve articles for a period reduced by half. Why am I saying this? Is the principal benefit of attending the PLT, both at this school and other attendance or sit-in-class schools, is that with that certificate, you are able to apply for condonation of not having to undergo or serve a statutory 2-year period of contract of articles. Because of this, your possession of this certificate, completion certificate or compliance certificate, you will be allowed to serve only 1 year. That is what I talked about when I say the primary benefit of your attendance of the practical legal school, be it our school, the LSSA UNISA Distance Learning School, or other attendance schools. Let's come to the content of the training program itself, ladies and gentlemen. The program comprises about 20 modules or subjects of your training. The subjects are listed somewhere in the learner guide. There are subjects which you are going to have to be expected to write and pass assignments on. And there are those subjects which you are going to have to answer online on the platform of the school itself. So there are online subjects. There are about 5 or so. I'm thinking of, I recall that there is an online subject on forms of business enterprise. There is also an online subject on aspects of customary law. There is also another online subject on insolvency practice, INP. There is also another subject I recall, it's matrimonial matters and divorce, that is MMD. And subjects like those, I think there are about 5 or so. I'm not so sure about whether there still is an online test on English proficiency, English language proficiency, and another one on numeracy skills, something like that. But that is ultimately what you will know and have to deal with as part of your training. With regard to those subjects which you will be having to answer not subjects, but you will have to answer to pass, not just answering. Answer to pass assignments. And I'm talking about 2 assignments, but later on I will be discussing the feature of assignments, because that is another very distinguishing feature, separating the LSSA Unisa Distance Learning School from other attendance schools. But as I'm saying, with about 5 or so subjects confined to online treatment or handling by you guys, those subjects on which you are going to, for the duration of the 6 months, be expected to answer assignments, they are, I can count subjects like, for example, criminal law practice. I can count subjects like labor dispute resolutions, and then there's also a subject, high court civil practice, for example, magistrates court civil practice, and there is a module on wills, estates, and trusts. There's a module on legal practitioners bookkeeping. There is also another module on legal costs. And then, as I'm saying, we're talking about roughly, in all, including the online modules, around between 18 to 20. But those subjects, please don't be stressed up. They are all listed for your information in your learner guide. And as a matter of fact, when you receive study material that comprises all those modules, ladies and gentlemen, in the study material pack, there will be a list, inventory of all those subjects that you shall have to confirm that you have received. So it is not a train smash as at this stage. When I just talk about those subjects, they are still going to be confirmed. The receipt of the actual physical manuals of study or for the training will be confirmed by yourselves, because that's what is part of your responsibilities, to say, I have received from the courier the following: a manual on criminal law practice, a manual on labor relations disputes, a manual on this and that, for example. I have said that with the LSSA UNISA Distance School, ladies and gentlemen, we are dealing with assignments. Somewhere in the learner guide, you shall have read, if you have already received the learner guide at this stage, you shall have read somewhere where they say, where the full-time or sit-in schools students attend classes for their lectures. Our students, yourselves, write assignments and write them to pass them to a minimum threshold of 50%. Ladies and gentlemen, we are that strict. The minimum pass for any assignment is 50% and nothing less. Once you are 49 to 45, you are considered as qualifying for a right that I will later talk about in this address. But as I'm saying, yes, our assignments that you are going to have to write to pass instead of attending lectures are 2 for each of the modules. There will be the main assignment, and there will be a supplementary assignment. The main assignment serves, or the passing of the main assignment. In other words, when you pass the main assignment, you are absolved from having to worry yourself about the supplementary assignment. So we will talk about passing, or that's not passing actually, the opening the assignment to answer it and answer it to pass. But as I'm saying, a student who passes the main assignment is absolved from the responsibility of having to answer the supplementary assignment. You can do that for the purposes of you are getting thorough, getting more information, or for your own personal self. But once you pass the main assignment, you are not required to bother yourself about the supplementary assignment. That's number one. So all those modules which are not online are not classified as being online for the purposes of treatment or answering. Yes, they are subject to the main assignment and the supplementary assignment. I will talk now about the assignments and the importance of opening the assignment with the view to answer them with the further view to pass. Ladies and gentlemen, in the past, that is before COVID-19, we used to couple distance learning with some form of muted contact learning that was in the form of the presentation of video conference lectures. COVID-19 came and cancelled the party. Where before COVID-19, UNISA offered to the school their video conferencing facilities at their campuses, its campuses rather. Students would have a simulation of a contact session, because then the lecturer would be in a UNISA studio at the main campus, Sunnyside, Pretoria, and then his presentation will be beamed on the internet across the country to our students. That was the closest students could come to a contact session. They would see a lecturer presenting in a studio, a UNISA studio, and the presentation be beamed on the internet across the country at UNISA campuses, or in very selected cases where students were very far from the nearest UNISA campus, they would get a link onto their internet laptop and work or be part of the video conference lecture in that manner. But as I'm saying, COVID-19 came and stopped everything. The UNISA, as an institution, its problems. It has enough of its own problems for its own students, such that it cannot be bothered by our predicament. Video conferencing facilities were a donation. This school did not pay for video conferencing facilities. Even the use of the UNISA campuses across the country were for free, offered by UNISA itself to the LSSA school for free. So blame everything on COVID-19, ladies and gentlemen. I have said that as a result, we do not any longer have video conferences. And therefore, because of COVID-19, we had our training program or training package stripped to its bare essentials, to its real original intended meaning. Sorry. I must switch off this thing. I can't. The UNISA, yes, the UNISA Distance School training program has been stripped to its very basic or base essentials. Though that we have been. I'm sorry with this. I want to switch off this thing, and then, oh gosh. Right, I think I'm winning now. Sorry for that. As a result of COVID-19, we don't have video conferencing, and therefore we are just left with a very essential or basic characters of our distance learning, and that is assignment writing. So you answer 2 assignments if you are unlucky. If you are lucky, you answer the first assignment and you pass it, and then you are done with your assignment on a particular module. The other consideration, ladies and gentlemen, is that I talked earlier on about opening an assignment for the purposes of answering it. Somewhere in the learner guide itself, I think in particular, somewhere on page 15 and 16, please note this one. Somewhere on page 15 and 16 or thereabouts, there's a thorough, in-depth discussion on assignments and assignment opening and assignment writing for the purposes of passing it. Because in that space, in your learner guide, there is a warning that says, please open an assignment on the eLeader platform only and only after you have thoroughly prepared to answer the assignment, and answer the assignment with the view to passing it, that is obtaining a threshold or minimum of 50% of the allocated marks. Do not, you are warned, and I'm warning you here now, ladies and gentlemen, and you are warned in the learner guide, and please take the warning seriously. Do not open the assignment on the eLeader platform because you have nothing better to do with your time. Please, and I'm saying please again, when you decide or when you actually open the assignment, it must be number 1, because you have prepared to answer the questions, to pass them. If for any reason you are not decided that I'm going now to sit and open the assignment and answer the questions with the view to passing, please do not. Rather wait until you feel that now today is the date on which I'm going to open the assignment and answer the questions and pass them. And this is the reason why this warning is repeated here and in the learner guide. The assignments, ladies and gentlemen, are open from as early as the first week of the month, the first month of the training. They will be closed on the date is the 4th of June. The purpose of opening them for this long, and number one, is all the assignments are intended to be open, and they are only closed. The deadline for submission of those assignments is that long, on the 14th of, so not for the 4th of June. So you have all the time to study manual by manual, preparing to one day open the assignment to answer. You have roughly 5 months within which to subdivide about 13 or so modules, assignments, to answer them. So if you manage your time properly, ladies and gentlemen, you can write the main assignment in each of the modules and pass them, and not have the duty or the responsibility of having to do with a supplementary assignment. So you have all the assignments open, you have all the study material delivered to you. Manage your time and read for this module. Manage your time for and prepare to answer the assignment on a different module, and decide properly that when on a particular day I open a particular assignment to answer, I am going to answer this assignment with a view to pass. This is why you should have that time management skill in dealing with opening of an assignment. The assignments, ladies and gentlemen, it is clearly explained in the learner guide. And for those of you who might still need some further clarification, you know where to contact us and how to contact us. But in the learner guide, it is clearly explained to you, and I think it is repeated on certain points, that once you open an assignment, the management of your time to answer that assignment gets out of your control, because the time is electronically controlled and electronically counted. The moment you go on the e-leader platform on a laptop or a desktop and you open assignment A, then if that assignment answering time is set, because it will be set anyway, if it is set to be 1 hour 30 minutes, or it is set to be 2 hours of answering this assignment, the moment you open that assignment on the e-leader platform, the clock starts ticking on that 1 hour period or that 2 hour period. So once you open your assignment, it is open. That is the warning that I'm giving you now, and it is given in your learner guide. Once you open an assignment, it is open for you to answer. And if it is open for 1.5 hours or 2 hours or whatever time is set for answering that assignment, you must know that it is open and open. And it will be closing with or without your control at the last minute of the 1 hour 30 minutes or the last minute of the 2 hour period set for answering that assignment. That is why I'm repeating, and it is repeated again in your learner guide to say make a conscious decision to say, number one, I've thoroughly prepared and I'm ready to answer the questions within the set time that assignment is set. The moment you open the assignment, you will know, it will show that this assignment, the answering of this assignment is 1 hour, 30 minutes, or is 2 hours, or is 3 hours, whatever. So that is it about those assignments. Time management is the lesson that people are taught in assignment writing, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there is another element I have referred for again, I'm saying, for all that you need to know about opening assignments and opening them with the view to answer them and answer them to pass them, I refer you to page 15 and 16 of the learner guide. And as I'm saying again, for any clarification, you can call any of my staff members with particulars, their contact particulars also are available at the end of the learner guide somewhere. I intend now to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the assignments, we have a part of training of the PLT or another module or element known as casework and trial advocacy. Casework, ladies and gentlemen, is, as the name says, you are dealing with, in casework, you are dealing with a simulated legal case in the lower court, basically, match court, in which, ladies and gentlemen, a set of facts or an example of a civil case is presented for students to treat in a practical environment. Practical environment for court case, for legal cases means courts. So here we're dealing with a simulated lower court, magistrate's court, in which there is a presiding officer, the magistrate, and there are plaintiffs. We are dealing with a civil case here. There will be plaintiffs on the one hand, and there will be defendants on the other hand, and there will be role playing in that situation. Students are encouraged to actively interest themselves, take an active interest in the proceedings during casework, because that's the closest you can come to a practical environment in our school. So when you are encouraged to take part, either as a plaintiff or as a defendant or as a witness for the plaintiff or as a witness for the defendant, that is in an action situation, action as opposed to application or notice of motion situation. Because in notice of motions, in a case where an application is the subject of that legal case, then we're dealing with applicants and then respondents. That is when, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you should take interest and involve yourself actively and interestedly so that you end up enriched from a practical viewpoint. That is about casework. But again, another thing, we used to have casework presented by contact sessions. So there will be casework done in halls or in schools or in UNISA campuses in the past. Again, COVID-19 intervened and cancelled the party, stripped our PLT to its bare essentials, we were forced to do casework online. That's what is going to happen this year. Casework is going to be done online. So yes, you will have, the LSSA UNISA school is the only school of the 10 schools that was forced to yield to pressure, community of students, to say we are not going to risk infection with COVID-19, do something. And then we had to think out of the box and come up with an online version of casework. So your casework is going to be conducted online. Another element, also practice-orientated element of your PLT is what we refer to as trial advocacy. The advocacy profession, representation of members of the community in the courts, both high and lower courts, ladies and gentlemen, is also presented by your school. Trial advocacy is offered not by the school itself, but offered on the school's behalf by the body well known as the BLA, Black Lawyers Association, through its Legal Education Center. Trial advocacy is also the most practical level of advocacy that you can ever experience as a student of the LSSA UNISA distance learning school. It's also offered by the other sit-in or class conducting schools, the 9 provincial schools of lead. But as I'm saying, it is not us, the schools, that present this program to you. It is presented to you on behalf of us, the schools, by the BLA. Luckily, in my view, luckily for you, the trial advocacy itself is still going to be presented in a contact form, which means you, I suspect for this semester, it will be somewhere the beginning of May. I'm not so sure now, but somewhere around there, you will be expected to sit in some hall, normally hotels or some town halls, that we are able to book for you to sit, obviously observing social distancing and sanitizing responsibilities. You will sit in some hall or some hotel hall, yes, and then actively take part in trial advocacy program. It is a 5-weekday program. I forgot to mention that with the casework, because it has become online for the first time for our school, that is. Casework is not, it used to be 5 days also when it was contact based, but because it has since become online, it takes longer than 5 days, and it will be 10 weekdays. So there will be 10 weekdays for casework, online casework, and there will be 5 weekdays for trial advocacy. The last point that I want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, and I think it is in conclusion of the presentation, is the question of examinations. I've heard, or I have spoken about the assignments and their passing 50%. The examinations also must be passed with a threshold of 50% of the marks allocated. The examinations will be written, number one, on a national basis. That is all schools across the country, the 9 attendance schools, and our school will write a common examination on the first subject being wills, estates, and trust. The second subject of examination, also written on a national basis, is an examination on legal practitioners bookkeeping, LPBK. As we are speaking, the Principal's Advisory Committee has already determined and issued dates for writing those examinations. They will be communicated to you through a schedule of the program itself. But yes, as I'm speaking to you, those dates are there, determined already. So you will know by the time you receive your schedule that an examination on wills and estates will be written on this date. An examination on LPBK will be written on this date. The third examination is an examination which is referred to as the BBST. BBST standing for Broad-Based Skills Test. It should have been a skills examination, not a skills test, because it's classified under examinations. But that's talk for another day. Ladies and gentlemen, broad-based skills test, for you to understand what it means, it's that compare it with wills, estates, and trust, which is a module standing alone, and another module, LPBK, bookkeeping for legal practitioners, standalone self-defined and self-contained module. But this one, the BBST, it's broad-based, general. Please, it connotes that it's a general knowledge type of test or examination. So that in that type of examination, students will expect to be confronted with questions on any aspect of law, not wills, estates, and trust, and not dealing with legal practitioners bookkeeping. So everything else other than excluding wills, estates, and trust, WET, and everything else other than LPBK can be expected to be asked about in the BBST. It's basically a general practice orientated type of examination. All others not standing alone. There are 3 examinations: standalone WET, standalone LPBK. BBST includes the rest of all fields of study during your training. So you can expect that in BBST, you can be asked about anything about personal injury claims, legal costs, labor issues, forms of business enterprise, whatever, all those that would not feature in either WET or LPBK. Those will be, yes, your examinations, 3 of them. Dates are there. The examinations also are either a main exam, and if you don't make it in the main exam, you have an opportunity for the supplementary exam. The third option, ladies and gentlemen, is it may happen that I spoke about it very early to say, should a student obtain between 49 and 45? Again, in the learner guide, such a student does not have an automatic right to the remarking of their exam script. you obtain that range of marks, 49 to 45. The only right you have is you have the right to have a review of your script, exam script, or your answer sheet in my presence as your principal, or in the presence of some member of staff that I shall have delegated for that purpose. So your right is not an automatic right to have your script remarked. You firstly have to review your script, and during the review, you make a proper case to say, Mr. Malema or so and so, questions like 1, 2, 3 or so, the marker has undermarked me or has overlooked these answers, and if they were to be remarked, I suspect I would pass. So you must make a case for the review of your script. No automatic right of a remark of a script. I hope it is clear. And ladies and gentlemen, again, for any clarity, please refer to our learner guide. That's it about the examinations. I think I have tried by all means to touch what I regard as important aspects of your training during this orientation program. I thank you for listening me up to this time of the recorded orientation program. Again, I welcome you to the school. Congratulating you for having made it to the list of those who have been confirmed for registration as our students for 2021 first semester. I hope you will enjoy your training, and again, somewhere at the end of the learner guide, our contact particulars are there, ladies and gentlemen. Please, please, please make use of the e-leader platform. Please, please do not jump to your next telephone or cell phone every time you think of contacting us. The mode of communication between the school, and this includes the school staff, and yourselves as our students, is the e-leader platform. The fact that we have created this e-leader platform is that the reason for creating the e-leader platform, we want to, if we can afford it, be left alone to make sure that you get the best professional training in this PLT. So only call us if you must call us. Please stay away from emailing us. Use the e-leader platform. We have enough loads of emails for us to handle. Again, I congratulate you for having made it onto our registrations. Wish you good luck in your training and hope all of you write only the main assignments and pass them. And I also hope that all of you only write main examinations and pass them. Again, congratulations and thank you very much for being part of our group. It's an honor to be of service to you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.